by the lack of care that you see in a large portion of our town, along with the fact that we no longer have a strong police presence for emergencies or patrol. We need these new residents and businesses for tax breaks to give us some relief. Lastly, I asked a simple question on Facebook as to what the charges were on our water bill, and I received 96 comments about the lack of communication about this issue and the quality of our water. Finally, the town of Ramseur made a post regarding what the charges were, and I asked if letters were going to go out since not every resident is on the Facebook page, and I did not even get a response. People are angry, and rightly so. We receive multiple letters a year. I have 2 more sentences. We receive multiple letters a year about pouring grease down our drains, but we can't be informed about this tax increase. This hits hard for senior citizens and single mothers, as it does every other resident. Plus the fact that we have to buy.
3 minutes are up.
That's rude.
The 3 minutes are up.
As a commissioner, I want to apologize for the rudeness.
And I was thinking
Thank you.
Okay, next we
That is
got,
uncalled for.
Uncalled for.
next we got
You need to resign.
John Sonnenfeld
Amen to
at
that.
327
Thank you.
Elam Avenue.
That was wrong.
Dude, if you can't do the job, you should resign.
Yes,
We got-
absolutely. Thank you.
Next we have John. You can shut up or get out. Ridiculous.
Yeah, we agree, you are ridiculous.
Is there John Sonnenfeld in the building?
Hope everybody's doing okay tonight, but
Yeah.
shit scared out of you.
Thank you, John.
And I'm here to talk about water and fire department, or water and police department. Seeing as we don't have a police department anymore, we live on Elam Street, and it's a shortcut to 64. And if there isn't a car, if a dozen cars a day that don't drive 50 miles an hour down that road, I'll eat your head. And to get rid of the police force, when they could probably make their salary just on our road alone. And another thing that I want to talk about is the water, the quality of the water. Where does our water get tested at to say that it's good?
They tested at the water plant and they have
You
to
don't-
send samples off also.
You don't have an outside company that tests?
Yes,
Because our water cannot be safe. I know everybody's saying that the water's safe, but I firmly believe that there's an issue going on with the water and we're not being informed about it. I have some photos that I'd like you to look at on the bench. Guess we've got with you, there's 3 of them there. That's the kitchen faucet. That's the black tar substance that's coming out of the faucet that builds up on the end of the faucet from the water that comes from Ramseur. There's a picture of it when it's clean. There's a paper towel that I use to clean. And I don't know about anybody else, but I think I'm gonna have an independent company test the water and test whatever that black tar substance is. Because I think you guys are trying to pull something over our eyes. I really do. And for you to charge more for the $5 and something for sewer and for water, I'm spending, $30-some a month on water just to make coffee and for cooking and stuff. I don't even know if this stuff is safe to take a bath in. No comment?
I would assume it's safe.
Not this time.
You're saying the water's safe. That's what they said.
Got nothing to say now.
That's what they said in Flint, Michigan, and when the dust settled, there's a bunch of people ended up in prison from the water department.
I understand
And that's a
that.
true fact.
I kept up in Flint, Michigan.
I can attest to what you're saying. I have the exact same. thing
Pardon me?
happen. I can attest to what you're saying. I had the exact same thing happen at my home. I can prove it.
And you put up with it? I mean, there's something wrong.
I'm one person.
All the
You see what's
chemicals,
happening?
all the chemicals that we're treating
You
the
see
water with, there's something wrong here. I mean, there's really something wrong. And you just don't seem like you care. I'm not getting that fuzzy feeling like you're really interested.
I am interested. I wouldn't be here if I were not interested.
Well, before you slap the gavel down, I'm gonna get out of here.
Okay, thank you, sir. Gary Morrison.
Well, as the mayor just said, my name's Gary Morrison. I live at 309 Elam Avenue, and I've been in Ramseur about 3.5 years. I bought a house during the pandemic, and had I known the situation of this city and the lack of law enforcement, lack of code enforcement, I'm not so sure I would have bought that house. The lady said she's put tens of thousands of dollars into her house. My wife and I put hundreds of thousands of dollars into our house. And the fact is, I was willing to do that because I like the neighborhood. The problem is, without any code enforcement, some people don't have the wherewithal with which to keep their their house maintained, and really don't give a fat rat's rear end as to whether they do or not. I've complained numerous times to code enforcement, who I think is on a retainer or they're paid by the inspections they perform. I used to be in building planning and codes, and I was often called a code Nazi, a housing Nazi, but I was a building inspector. It's a job where you don't make friends, but you do make money for the city. Why we don't have one here, I really don't know. If somebody says it's finances, then they're not taking a look at other towns as to what can be made from code enforcement. It can at least be self-supporting, as can the police department. Elam Avenue now is an extension of 64 to 22. They come down there 50 mile an hour or more. And there are hills and valleys on that road and curves. At 55 mile an hour, if there's a child on the other side of that hill, they couldn't miss it. They wouldn't be able to avert hitting that child. It's not safe. I've asked, my wife and I went around with a petition to ask for speed bumps. Many in the neighborhood thought that might be a better subject for later, but I don't know if later is what the city has that kind of time. I can tell you that if my grandson or granddaughter was on a bicycle on Elam Avenue and they got hit by a car, and we don't have police force to maintain speed limits, I think I would consider suing the city. And I would advocate to anybody who loses a child or gets banged up on that Elam Avenue that they do the same. I'm not an attorney. I don't know if they'd have a legal right, but I would advocate that they go get an attorney and see what they can do. And then this little city would wish they had done something. I drive up and down 64, and I can only imagine how hectic that son of a gun is going to be when those plants open up the road. I mean, it's like a dadgum freeway out there. I'm an aggressive driver. I often don't drive a speed limit. And if I can, I'd like a couple of minutes of the 3 people that didn't show up here. If you'll humor me.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm an aggressive driver. I've been known to speed a little bit. But I've got trucks, commercial trucks, 18-wheelers going by me, loaded logging trucks. Boy, that's kind of a great thing to have going down your main highway, speeding 55, 60 miles an hour. Now, I know what they're doing. They're trying to get a head of steam up before they hit these hills just east of town. But my point is, without code enforcement, without law enforcement, we don't have a sense of law here. My wife and I used to joke when we came here that speed limits, stop signs, and stoplights were merely suggestions in North Carolina. Now, that's an exaggeration, I know. But I know everyone in here has seen people do what they call a California stop. They don't even slow down. They just look to see if there's any opposing traffic and keep going. It's gotten so bad that when I have to leave an intersection from a red light and I finally get a green one, I sit there for a few seconds because I'm half afraid to jump out
Make sure
on a
those
green
trucks
light
stop.
because I'm gonna get T-boned. That's my concern. I don't usually speak in crowds. I'm very direct, and I know in some parts of the country, being direct is not considered an attribute. I don't sugarcoat things, but I'm learning to adapt to a Southern way of life. But I'm having difficulty doing so because sometimes it seems like you all, and that's not a word I use very often, you all have cavalier attitudes towards these things. When it is a matter of safety for those of us out in the public. I thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I thank you for giving me a few more minutes.
I want to talk to you about the code enforcement.
Sure.
I have absolutely, and the clerk will tell you, raised pure hell every day for 7 months about code enforcement in Ramseur. So there you go.
Well, it's apparent to me.
We have a company that does our code enforcement.
I understand.
And I understand now that we have 3 yards that we need to mow to abate and we got a lot of junk, and the lady on Liberty Street, I think that one's been addressed. And several on my street looks as bad as any street in the town.
Well, I can tell you on Elam Avenue, I can take you to 3 houses that's less than a 4-minute walk from my house. They've got grass that's 12 inches or higher. There's similar situations on Curtis and Bush and Kimset. Beer cans all over the place. So, it's used for good old boys to drive through, drink their beer on the way home from work, and just throw the cans out. My wife does it. I refuse to do it. She goes around the neighborhood with 2 plastic bags and picks up trash because there's nobody else doing it.
But we're working on the code enforcement. We have a company, but there's a little something it's just not getting done.
Well,
And
it
nobody-
pays for itself.
And there's nobody on this board that disagrees with you about that.
I take some solace in that, but I'd rather see results.
I understand.
All right, well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Old business. Jason.
You need to represent that, or?
I believe before we left it last time there, we thought we was gonna have to have a public hearing, but we determined that we did not have to have a public hearing for this because this is state mandated thing. So we have to do it.
Yeah, this is a state mandated thing that it's a backflow cross connection ordinance, requiring backflow connections on certain meters. I looked through other ordinances the town had, couldn't find one that we had in place, so put this one together. I think Bob was concerned we might have to have a public hearing, but found out it's a state mandated thing, so we don't have to have a public hearing, just need to vote for it to be adopted.
So what do we need to do?
I just need to get a vote to adopt this ordinance in place for the backflow ordinance.
Okay, I entertain a motion, we adopt the backflow ordinance. Backflow cross connection.
I make a motion for the backflow and cross connection control ordinance.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Comments from the mayor. People say we've had a lot of this Facebook garbage going on. And the town of Ramseur has a social media ordinance. And we've had a couple of commissioners and a person that was on planning and zoning that violated that ordinance several times. And I just want to bring that to you.
So the police in our free speech, is that what you're saying?
That ordinance is not an ordinance, that is an employee policy, not a commissioner's policy. We do not have a policy on social media for commissioners.
And I don't think comments on social media explaining what's going on should be prohibited.
What?
Because I feel like that's what you voted for me to do, is represent you, did you not? Okay,
And-
and you want me to keep you informed, right?
And incite the
But it's
people.
wrong to do so if I do it on Facebook. Am I correct, Mayor?
Say what?
I'm wrong to do so if I publicly put that out there on Facebook where people are attacking the board? Because I want them to know I'm doing my part. I'm representing you the way that I feel that you
Well,
want
you
to.
did it. You did as much
And
attacking
did
as
any of
anybody
you-
else.
Did any of you show up tonight because of anything I said on Facebook? Raise your hand. Do you see that?
Yeah, she's being touched and they're attacking her. Insane.
I'm not here to play games and I'm not going to.
It says right here, this came from a citizen in the town of Ramseur. Says, I noted the past several months, 2 specific commissioners have done nothing but made attempts to incite and fear and divide the citizens by sharing false and or misinformation via social media regarding how the community will be negatively affected by the police department not being approved for additional funding specifically for salary increases.
And I stand by that comment.
Say what?
And I stand by the comment. We should have increased over the years and kept our police department. My personal opinion. And it's Commissioner's opinion. I don't play these games either, and all these little secret things that keep on going off for me being taken off Facebook as administrator, because these people deserve to know that a deputy might show up at their house and not their regular police officer. These people have a right to know that an additional fee is on their water bill, where other towns sends out pamphlets to describe that with the first bill. These citizens deserve to know that this is happening.
Well, Jason, whenever we voted on this, about this water thing, why didn't you make the comment that, well, hey, we need to send a letter with the water bill whenever it starts? Because
That
you
was
voted.
fully discussed, because Carol sat right there and said, whenever I asked, I said, no, we're not doing this, because if we do, once you raise it, it'll never go down. You sat right there. You said the town of Ramseur did this one time before. And whenever the time came up and the loan was up, that debt came off.
Diane,
You sat right there and
on the
said
water
that they
bill.
informed them by letter. And then they
It won't- it won't hit on
Then
that
you
bill.
had to demand, you had to come to town hall. to
I would have
get
been
on
fine
bill.
if the water bill had
That.
spelled that out, but INF did not explain that.
She never said
It wouldn't
such a
fit on the
thing,
water
Joey.
And I
Then the
asked,
letter
and
should have went.
I'll tell you this, I emailed Carol a week or so back and asked her for the minutes for the town meetings in writing and budget. She never replied, never got them.
I'm on,
Well, I took notes and it.
when they run the 6-inch line out
That did happen.
Brooklyn Avenue where Carol lives, and they charge them a $10 surcharge until it was paid for, they were never sent a letter.
She said
Period.
there was.
No,
No, they were
I was
not.
the mayor, by God, I know there was not.
Well, she sat there and said.
They were not.
They were not.
They were not.
There was not.
Because my parents are on that, and they were never sent a letter that there was a fee being tacked on to their water bill. So that did not happen.
And that was verified with Diane. A letter was not ever sent out. And we didn't do it.
And I'll
this
ask
time.
this question, I'll post this. Why would you put that out there on the bill with initials with no explanation whatsoever? You have a responsibility. the town of Ramseur's administration has a responsibility, and had I not been
There's only
removed for your
so many
friends to be over
spaces
it,
on that water bill.
it would have been done.
And we answered every question that was asked of us.
I'm just telling you, that's just the most unprofessional thing I've seen in a good minute. And it looks like a lot of spite work.
We're gonna talk about,
They initially, they
We-
put what they could on the.
we're gonna
board.
talk about some
If
professional
you wanted to
stuff.
know what it was about, why come you didn't come and inquire about it?
We talking about the
Why didn't you
mayor's,
come and inquire about
we
it?
talking about the
I
mayor's
knew
comments.
what it was for.
Let's-
I was just making it better.
How about,
Oh,
hold
and
it
by the
down.
way, Carol said that the letter was going out.
We
No,
talk,
ma'am, I did not.
we,
No, I did
we
not.
talking about, we gonna talk about professionalism.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we are. Ramseur Lake, a John boat. And one of the pedal boats reported stolen this morning from the lake. Last Friday, the market at the lake sign was stolen. If anyone has any information that may lead up to getting those returned, please contact Randolph County Crime Stoppers. Thank you. Ramseur Lake. I found out this evening that the sign was taken down by an employee from a work order placed in town. It wasn't from me, nor was I made aware. My apologies to everyone. Someone is running the town without commissioners knowing. Their departments are being hijacked by those people who feel supersede the others on the board. I said it and I will.
Say it again.
And when I come face to face again, and then he goes on, it says Ramseur Lake, I will expect answers as we all should. They chose this, I did not. Okay, does anybody know what this word is? You know what that word is? Well, you ought to. Ramseur Lake, I have no problem with calling anybody out, what they do. And this is kind of confusing. What they do, if they're in the wrong, I'm also one that will hold their feet to the fire. In the end, they do not intimidate me. And this next word is whatsoever. It's got 4 E's in it. And then it's got this word. I feel the heat can stay upon me. Truthfully, I wish I wasn't even in this position.
That's a fact, because of the way that people are treated and just how you guys are treated.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
It sounds to me like there's a little something else going on there.
Exactly. I know. Just let it keep playing out because it's gonna get worse.
Where's that?
And I will say that everything that I said, I meant. And when I say hold your feet to the fire, is to do what's right. I hope you understand that.
Well,
And I'm not intimidated, I'm not
let me tell you.
smiling, I'm not intimidated.
Let me tell you.
by you.
Let me tell you.
And for you to reflect, well, I won't even go there because that's not.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what happened to the sign. The sign had fallen down one side of it for 3 weeks,
I know, and I asked
and I
Jason
had
to go
and I had them to
correct it.
remove it.
That was out of spite work.
And
I made
then-
you mad, and the very next
and-
day after that meeting, it was
And
gone.
then the deal.
But I had already had Jason, he was supposed to straighten it up, and I have proof of that.
And then the deal at the lake, the market at the lake, for 6 weeks, there hadn't been a solar.
I know, but we were supposed to run it through spring and fall and keep the sign up so people are aware that the market is there so that they don't lose interest. We discussed that, but y'all have selective memory.
Well, how many times you been to lake in the last 13 months?
I've been several times, but most of the time I haven't. I've been
2 times.
most of the time up until you started showing up every day.
2 times.
And I've already found out people don't even come to the lake anymore because.
I've been going for 40 years.
Yeah, he was at Lake yesterday, I believe, so he's in there.
I know.
I've been going for 40 years. I'm gonna go to the next 40 if I
And I'm
live.
gonna be able to drink my water. I don't care about the lake.
All right. Mayor,
Well, now,
we need to finish because we're floundering here.
at this time, so we covered the deal about the letters not being sent out. That's the reason we have public hearings and have to post them. No, they ain't even talking about the police department. You're gonna talk about that, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. Carol did negotiate on August the 6th with the Treasury Department. They're not gonna withhold our state sales tax. So that saved the town several $1,000s.
Yeah, can anybody clap for that?
How much did they withheld from
Yeah, I
late
can't
audit?
even hear him, it's just all Charlie Brown, like, blah, 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 like.
How much of what?
How much has been withheld because of late audit?
That's what it was about.
Like I tell my colleagues.
How much is withheld? Are we getting all that
Not
back
any.
tax, or is it just from now on, we're gonna get,
Yeah.
we don't get none of the back tax?
I don't, how's that work, Carol?
I didn't hear the question.
He said how much was withheld for the
For
past.
the previous years, we haven't had it because of the late audits. Do we get that money, or is it,
There was
that's
not
lost?
They-
ever any withheld from us. That law just passed and we had opportunity to plead our case. We did, and we're not losing any money. That's what the mayor
And we,
said.
and,
We
and,
have not lost any money and we are not going to lose any money in the future.
and we would have had 2 of the audits completed, except that one of our guys got COVID that was working on them. He was within 2 days of having it
Working on that.
He was within 2 days of having it completed, and he got COVID. And he's now, it'll be done in just a day or 2, in a few days. That'll
We
be
got
2.
behind because the town went 2 years without a finance officer. And then I told the board that I would take it on, and we started from there. You have to do 1 audit before you can do the next audit. You can't like find 5 CPAs and get 5 audits done at one time. You have to complete 1 before you can go to the next one. Whenever we did the first audit, that office in there was in such a mess that we had to literally go through piece by piece of papers trying to find the stuff that was needed for the audit. But we pulled it together and got it done. We worked tirelessly and
I would drop a
hard to
little-
try to get it all together.
About the police department, I will drop a little tidbit. Teresa's gonna cover a lot of this stuff, but their budget was $655,000. And the chief came to the budget meeting with a proposal of $201,000 increase in their budget. And I asked him how much of this he needed, and he didn't need any of it. So I said, "Well, we need to cut $200,000. And that's exactly what happened. And then it come raise time. All the police officers were getting 5% except the chief. So the department heads were getting 3%. Everybody else was getting 5%. And he got a little upset and said we could take his 3% and give it to 2 other police officers. Well, he doesn't decide who gets the raises, but that's neither here nor there. But that's when the stuff started. We'd already had 2 police officers turned in their resignation to go somewhere else. One to Randleman and one to Siler. And then after that, it just went to pot.
It's because you attacked the police department, that's why.
It's
The rest of the guys were thinking about staying, and you started attacking the police department.
I did
So,
what?
yeah, you came into that one meeting, I watched that. You came in and said, police department was talking crap about the commissioners, and I'm 150%, we never talked trash about none of y'all. And you sat there and started saying that we talked all this, you started talking crap about the chief and all this, and you made everybody else decide to leave. I'm still here, I've been always here, was ready to stay here until the little slick move that you were gonna do. And I decided, no, I'm probably gonna look for somewhere else because of what you guys did. So don't try to say you guys didn't do nothing. You created the rest of us to leave. And I'll just stop at that.
I believe you're a little out of turn. I don't think you realize what you're saying.
I watched it. I watched the thing. You guys can go back on YouTube.
You heard me sitting.
He goes on the mayor minutes and said, I can't believe you guys are talking crap about the commissioner. We got you 3 vehicles. We got you all this pay. And he jumped on the police department. Don't talk bad.
You've never heard me disparage the police department. You just a bald-faced liar.
You were the biggest son of a gun ever to the police.
That's one thing everybody knows about me. I don't lie.
I watched the video back twice of how disrespectful
Yes.
you were talking to that police chief standing right there, and I apologize.
You talking about the Liberty Police Chief?
No, I'm talking about the police chief of Ramseur that was standing right here. So you said something about buying $7,000 worth of bulletproof vests and these new police cars, and everybody's leaving. So to recoup our money, they're gonna leave them cars parked here, and they're not driving them home no more.
That's exactly right.
And your tone, kind of like the tone you've done to other people, you're slamming gavels, a little bit rude, especially to the police chief.
Maybe it was a little bit rude, but he didn't take it as me being rude because he knows me.
No, it's
He didn't
really-
take me as being rude.
I'll take it, rude.
It doesn't matter if he knows you. Everybody else in the public sees how you're speaking. And you should speak with respect to someone who deserves respect, such as a chief.
Okay.
Mayor Ramseur,
Okay.
he earned his way to that position,
Okay.
and you respect that position.
Okay.
He doesn't care about the protection of our city at all.
He doesn't care about the
All he cares
city,
about-
period.
Right. Personal agenda.
Power trip.
Very big power.
Let me tell you what.
Tell me what.
These four people right here came out and recruited me to take the run for this job. I was the mayor for 16 years before, never raised taxes the first time. They never went up one penny. I've made a bunch of mistakes. And that's.
No, I didn't make a mistake.
That's your
You
opinion.
speak for yourself. I didn't make a
Previous
mistake.
Mayor was not the greatest, so I voted for you. I was telling people to vote for you.
Well,
Didn't even know you, but you were better than what we had.
let me tell you something.
Oh, no.
We raised water rates because we had no choice.
And didn't tell nobody because
We-
you didn't care to, because you didn't respect anybody enough to tell them.
Well, you've heard
Half of
everything.
these people wouldn't be here if you had given them notice. You chose that.
You listen. It's the same way with the police department. He heard all this stuff on YouTube. Why didn't people
That's
hear
the
this
only
stuff
minutes
on
I can
YouTube?
get off YouTube.
That's all we can get. We've asked for minutes and we were told $1 a page. It does not cost $1 a
The-
page
the-
to
the-
print.
The minutes, listen,
Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be free or at the cost of.
we don't hide in the corner. We don't go in my office and talk about this stuff.
Yeah, some of the meetings get cut off halfway through or not recorded at all, and there's no minutes for those.
Well, I promise you, they're not gonna get cut off anymore.
What about this one? Is this one gonna be posted?
I hope this was posted.
So you can keep on.
It's on Facebook and YouTube,
I was on our Facebook.
and the rest of them will be.
So who controls Facebook now, if I may ask respectfully?
Say what?
Who controls Facebook in town, Ramseur? Clerk?
I'm the administrator, but
I just didn't know.
But I don't do Facebook. I don't do it. You know, our meetings are gonna be on Facebook and our events and stuff like that. But these complaints and stuff that people post on Facebook, to me, are not complaints.
It just says aren't valid.
If it's on Facebook, if you got a complaint, you can call or come by or you.
Right, so you can bang your gavel. Yeah, so
My phone number is public information. All you gotta do is call me.
Okay, but nothing ever gets done though. That's the thing, even when we do bring it to your attention, nothing still gets done.
I was asking who's in control of Facebook. I didn't mean to cause an uproar. I just wanted to know who was in charge of logging on and putting town around sort of this and that. That's all I was curious.
JC was, but now I think the mayor and Teresa.
Somewhere along they had a vote and took me off without my knowledge and took Joey off the lake without our knowledge. We voted to put people on it, and then when we got taken off, there wasn't a vote.
that's a compliment.
It was Carol. It was before you came. I was here before you
Well, I
came.
was not voted to be put on.
Well, is that permissible? I mean, is that something you can vote on? Is that something that, or is that just random jive in the law book? Like, do you have to have a vote?
Well, usually, sometimes delegate calls to the mayor, and then other times the board will make that decision about what departments. Ramseur's a little different. This is not.
Yeah, obviously.
Ramseur doesn't have a city
Making applause as
manager.
we go.
Ramseur doesn't have a city manager. Their charter is a mayor council. It's not a city manager council. It's two different forms of government. In this form of government under the state, town of Ramseur could have a town administrator, but city managers like in Greensboro or High Point or somewhere, they can hire and fire employees. When you have a mayor council form of government, the board hires and fires
Right.
employees.
What I was asking
And
was.
so that's why it's a little different in that you don't really have a city manager over the employees.
Right.
You can have a town administrator, but the board still retains hiring and firing. And generally, sometimes board will delegate to a mayor to appoint committees. Some boards decide they want to do the appointment themselves.
So in regards to like a secret vote, is that, if Mr. Harris is removed, is that something that has to be voted on by all five of them, or is that?
Well, I think usually I recommend that they, if the mayor's been delegated power, the mayor can do it. If the mayor has not been delegated power, then generally it's better coming from the board. These folks are,
What authority?
right
does
now,
this mayor have?
Jason's head of public works, and you've got a situation whereby he's got to have certain licenses by the state of North Carolina. You do have council persons that work with those departments, but they are not technically licensed by the state. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
They're lay persons.
Somebody just asked what authority the mayor has.
Yes, I did. What authority do you have without the votes?
Here you go. Here you go.
Won't you read it out? Read it out. Have a seat. Have a seat. Read it out. So everybody can hear it.
The powers and duties of the mayor are those that are conferred upon him by law, and those that are conferred upon him by the council pursuant to law. The mayor is the official head of the city for the purpose of service of civil process and for all ceremonial purposes. The mayor shall preside over all council meetings. And you go on to General Statute 60A-67 describes the mayor's powers when it comes to voting. So if the mayor is elected separately by a vote of the people, he or she votes only in the case of a tie. If the mayor is elected as a council member rather than directly to the office of mayor, and the elected mayor among the membership of the council, he or she retains all of the voting privileges of the council member, but has no right to break a tie vote which he or she has participated.
this seat is open? Why has it not been filled if there's been applications put in? That makes you in a position where you're able to break that tie. That's not fair, every single time. How do you feel as if you're being transparent by doing that with us?
Say that again.
How do you feel like you are being transparent whenever you're not hiring another seat so you can be the one who breaks the tie every single time? That's my question.
It's the same deal that went on
No,
when
it
Tim.
ain't the same deal. There's an empty seat right there, sir.
That's exactly right.
That's not
And,
right.
and we've, you know how many applications we've had for it?
Why ain't you put nobody in it? Because you want to be the one that is the tiebreaker.
No.
If one got
We
put
see
in,
you.
put them in.
We put one in
We
it,
just
but,
seen you
but,
when somebody
but
has
we'll-
4 more minutes.
but we're gonna do it when it's time to do it, when we get the right person.
Right. It's the time is
Someone
now.
that's gonna plug
It's
and play.
been time. Right.
In North Carolina, the county commissioners have to do a replacement. City councils do not. Do not ask me why Raleigh did that separate. North Carolina municipalities do not, they are not required to fill that vacancy if there's time for you. City, county commissioners are. So go talk to Raleigh about that.
My understanding, we've gotten one application. I've not seen the actual application. The person that put in did give me a letter of recommendation, and I did pass it on to the other commissioners. But the letter that came in and the application, I've not seen it personally.
You got it in your desk, don't you, Carol? We can show it to you. I thought you had read it. When I sat there, right, you sat here beside of me and you told me that you wouldn't vote for him because he doesn't like growth.
I did not say that.
Okay. Okay.
What requirements are you looking for, let's see?
Say what?
What requirements are you looking for to fill that seat?
Well, first off, probably looking for somebody that don't have a wife on the planning and zoning board. I mean, I think he's a nice guy. I talked to him for what, an hour or longer?
That was actually a serious question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not funny, sir. That was a serious question.
Well, I answered it seriously.
No, you didn't. You've laughed the whole meeting. Nothing to you is serious.
Listen, you might want to move on with the agenda.
Yeah, we're going
I think
to.
some of these people.
You're next.
Right, 3 minutes left.
You're next.
Stuff like you do.
You're next.
Who's next?
Yeah.
Yeah, the police department could probably ever kick off.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me speak on a couple of matters that you guys have brought up so that we are transparent about the police department and some things that have gone on with the police department. Now, let me be very clear. I was just voted in. So some of these things that have gone on that I will speak about, I took no part in. But knowing what I know, we could have done a little bit better with monies to help take care of raises and things like that. So first and foremost, let me talk about the police department and what's happened. There's been a lot of talk out there about the police department being defunded. Police department was never defunded. Situations arose where people felt that it was best for them to move on to other places for whatever reasons they had. We don't get into that. We have one retiring, which is the chief. And we've had all the other officers except for one currently have went to other places. So with that being said, they chose to go to other places because of, please don't interrupt. I am trying to speak. If you will please listen, I will answer anything afterwards. I can't answer the question why they have a choice to go other places. It could be because of family. It could have been because of money. I don't know. They didn't give us a reason why they chose to go other places. One officer was already chose to resign from here and go to Ranneman. Before any of the budget, anything was going on, he was moving along. There was another one that decided he wanted to go somewhere else. So the ones that remained, we finally got a resignation letter from one that was after the budget had been passed. So with that being said, we can't answer that question. One is currently, we still have one police officer that is currently working with us. And as of this week, we had a part-time administrative assistant that went into, we were able to find the funds to make her full-time, and she has resigned. So with that being said, you talk about money and different things like that. No one understands that it takes time to do raises. You can't just up and give a person or a group of people a raise, a big raise. The money's got to come from somewhere. You can give a raise, but where are you going to get the money from? And I think you guys need to be vigilant and think about that before jumping and saying, we defunded the police department, because we did not. The budget request that has gone on, let me just say this. Let me give you some tidbits for you to think about. The chief, in this budget for 24-25, the chief requested a 10% raise for most of the officers, except for one officer getting a 13% raise and another officer getting a 14% raise. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to figure out where that money's coming from. And I'm not saying that we don't have the money. I'm not saying that we do have the money. But to ask for that amount of raise, you have to justify it. You have to have the funds to do it. So with that, the chief, the officers end up getting a 5% raise for this year, and the chief got a 3% raise. He declined his raise, and so he told us that he'd take out his 3% raise and disperse it to the other officers, which that is not his call. That would have to be something we would do. Also, in the budget request that the chief presented, he presented some mobile radios that he said was needed, which was $12,000. So that's one piece of his budget that he put on that he was asking for. He asked for desktop computers, which is $3,000, a mobile data terminals, which were $8,245. Administrative assistant that we did make went from part-time to full-time, and we had to come up with her salary to make that, but we were able to do that to help the police department. Also asked for some body-worn cameras, which were a cost of $50,000 over a 5-year period. Less lethal option rounds and shotguns. He asked for at $3,537.44, or getting tasers operational and refreshed at a cost of $1,634. The optics for the patrol rifles, 6 Tango MSRs, one at $1,861.48. So all these things was in his budget, as the mayor had alluded to a few minutes ago, was a lot of money that he had asked for, that we had to justify to be able to give. Now, with that being said, we had to make budget cuts because there is an umbrella that we have to fall under. And it was a difficult task to take to make the budget cuts. Let me say this, that 10 years, first time this year, we've had a balanced budget in 10 years or more. That takes strength and growth of people of commissioners having to make tough decisions. You can't dip into the rainy day fund every time you have a want to justify your want. After a point in time, you're going to be in debt. And that's where we have been. That's why we have not been able to necessarily give raises. Now, let me step a little further. In 2021, the current chief received a 14.30% pay raise. Now, I don't have figures on what the officers received, but I do know that. In 2021-22, I know there was some raises given. Don't have that information. I can get it. In 22-23, 5% raises were given to officers, and 7% was given to chief. In 23-24, 10% raises were given to officers and the chiefs. In 24-25, which I've already alluded to, 5% raises were given to the officers and 3% was given to the chiefs. So if we didn't care about the police department here, we wouldn't have went to that extent to make sure they were getting paid. We can't compete with a place like Gifford County, Forsyth County, or even Randleman because we don't have that type of revenue. But we are doing the very best we can do to make sure we get our officers up to speed. Now, let me also go on a little further, and I want to talk about the police car issue. Now, I've gone and I've counted. We've got about 12 to 13 police cars sitting up here at the police department. My question is, why in the world do we have all those police departments, all those cars? Those are raises that could have happened. All right, so and on 10/26 of 2022, we bought a 2013 Dodge Charger from the Randleman Police Department at $13,000. I don't know how many miles it was on it, but I can guarantee you that there was some miles on that vehicle. Later on, that vehicle ended up getting wrecked. So that vehicle is out of commission. On January the 18th of 2021, there were 3 Dodge Durangos brought. And we are paying on that. The bill started at January 18th of 2021, and we will have that bill paid for. Those 3 vehicles will be paid for December 18th of 2025. But I also want to share with you that all 3 of those vehicles ended up being over $145,000. $145,000 that could have went to raises. Okay. On September the 7th of 2023, there was a 2023, I want to say Dodge Durango brought at $42,000. Another raise. On October the 31st on 2022, we purchased a 2022 Dodge at $32,000. On May the 6th of 2024, and I'm a part of this one, so I will accept responsibility. We brought another Dodge from Randleman Police Department at $3,500. Plenty of miles on that one. On 2015, back in 2015, and I don't have the exact piece, there was another Dodge Charger brought for $19,504.75. On 10/26/22, there was a 2012 vehicle brought from the city of Renneman, once again, for $13,000. On 4/14/2020, there was another Dodge vehicle brought from it's a 2013 Dodge vehicle brought from the city of Renneman at $7,500. Now, guys, y'all can do the math.
Can you real quickly? What was it?
And it's one of the things that, as you can see, if we had spent our money wisely, thank you for that word. If we had spent our money wisely,
I will explain.
excuse me, I'm still talking. Thank you. I'm reclaiming my time. Thank you. Thank you. I'm reclaiming my time, and you can speak after I get finished. Thank you. If we had spent our money wisely, there wouldn't be a struggle. There wouldn't have been a struggle for raises and other things that have gone on. So we want to be transparent and we want to be real about what's going on in the town of Ramseur. These are the things that go on, and you guys need to be aware. That's why we have meetings every third Tuesday of every month, so that you can know what goes on and that you can hear the votes for or against. A lot of this stuff took place, and I don't place any blame on anyone. I'm just giving you facts that you can find, that you can ask for, that would have helped the police department. Like I said before, we can't help. I have no idea, and I can't help what individuals choose to do. I have retired. I chose to retire. Everybody has a choice. But I need you to understand that placing the blame on us commissioners or saying that we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing is not so. We are I'm almost going to be honest. I'm as honest and as transparent as I can possibly be. And if it's something shady going on, then I'm going to call it out for what it is. No, I went along with the budget because the budget was balanced. You can't get it any better than that. We didn't have to go dip over into a rainy day fund to balance the budget. That's how the town's supposed to be ran. It's just like you balancing your checkbook. You're going to go and keep dipping in your savings, The next thing you know, you don't have any money. And then the town's not going to run like it should.
That's exactly what the CPA told you last meeting. That you hadn't administered the money right.
So with that being, excuse me, thank you. So with that being said, I wanted to bring to light some of the things that have gone on and some of the money that has been spent within the town that could have helped. Now, one other thing that I do want to address, because I need for you guys to understand, the water issue did not happen overnight. And it is going to take time to fix the water issue if you guys will give us time. We are working some things out. Excuse me, you don't have to be rude, ma'am. Please listen. Thank you. We're trying to work things out to where we can get the water right. We have grants. We have all sorts of things coming down the pipe to get these things right. But at the same time, yes, we got audits that got behind. We're having to clean that mess up, and that takes time. So if you would honestly give us an opportunity to work and get some things done, we can do that. But coming in here blaming and bashing us is not going to help the town at all. And we all were voted into the position. We wasn't given it. We had to get voted in. So there's people in this town that said, hey, go and represent us. So give us time to get some things cleared up. And don't believe everything you hear and see on social media. if you have questions, come to the meetings and we will try our best to address them. And I'm not going to go back and forth with you about what went on today at the meeting. It is what it is. We will clear up those things. But that is the information that I have as far as what went on with the police department. As the mayor has said, we're working on an issue there with getting coverage. But let me just say this. We've always had coverage. If Ramseur is not covered, then we've got Randolph County. They're here. If it goes into 911, and here's the bottom line is this: we're not a big town of crime. We don't have a whole lot going on here. So, excuse me, I'm still talking. So with that being said, some of you are inciting and creating issues that don't have that's not there. If you go to and you talk with situation or with 911, they can give you the data and tell you exactly what's going on within this town.
Sure.
And so that's all that I have. But I did want to let you know that is what's going on with your tax dollars.
Last question, please.
No.
Let the lady behind you, the lady.
Thank you. I have a question.
Okay.
How much were you paying the police officers and the chief of police? What's the base? What was the base pay for them?
All right. So for 2024, 2025, the police chief was making $64,000. The administrative assistant was making $34,000. One officer that resigned was making $42,000. Another officer that resigned was making $49,000. Another officer that resigned was making $40,000.
No, what's the entry pay coming in?
39,000.
How many officers was the optimal number of officers to have in this town? Do you know?
We had 6.
6 officers.
When I worked here in 2000, back in 2000, 2002, we had 8.
See, and I even made the suggestion and printed out copies for everybody in a meeting and distributed it where you could take one employee's salary away and divide that amongst the police chief, captain, and trickle it down. And you could get the pay competitive. Nobody, it was just dead in the water.
And I want to speak on the
And that
cars.
we would have been, it would have worked.
Well-
Still, and all it takes is a budget amendment.
Well, let's speak facts
We
with
can't
facts.
take a budget. We don't have nobody to do it with now. Everybody had already set in their, they had already set in their mind they was gonna leave. There's nothing we could do to keep them. If we gave them a raise, they had still planned on going
I'm
somewhere.
talking about, so it doesn't, I'm not saying you take the
I wanna
people and
speak on
raise.
Hey,
I wasn't
hey,
stating
hey,
paying
hey,
a raise so that we
hey,
would keep the
hey,
people that we
listen.
have. I was stating that we would be competitive for other officers coming from other surrounding
Well, where
areas.
you
I'm
gonna
not a fool.
where
I
are
know
you
we
gonna
were
get the
blackballed
officers
by
from?
everybody in Randolph County.
Where you gonna get the officers from?
We won't now.
Lady,
We wouldn't anyway. Greensboro
Yes,
can't
you
find
would.
officers. Western Southern can't find officers. And you think they would come here?
Prior to this.
Ma'am.
they were-
go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, when were you voted in?
What did she ask?
Last year.
November, yeah,
Last year.
2020. What is this? Yeah, 2023.
2023.
Yes, ma'am.
So in May of 2024, you said you okayed another purchase of a Dodge.
I did.
Okay.
What's she asking?
Did you not have the data of the years before? Because
No, I did not have the data of the years before, and I was new.
So you made
And
an
it took
uninformed
time.
decision.
Ma'am, have you ever sat on a board?
Okay.
Have you ever sat on a board?
We're not talking
No,
about
no,
me.
answer
We're
the
talking
question.
about you.
And I'm asking you a question. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. But here's what I'm going to say. Excuse me, if you'll let me answer the question. Thank you.
You were just asking me about me. I'm not up there.
But
I
here,
get to ask you about you.
No problem.
Okay.
I'll be glad to answer that question. If you've ever sit in a governmental seat such as this, and you're new coming in, it takes you some time to get your feet wet. It takes you some time to understand the things that are going on. That's why I asked you the question if you've ever sat in this seat or ever sat in a elected official seat. Everything is not, excuse me, let me finish. Everything is not shared, or everything, you don't know everything coming in. So once you learn and you realize what's happening, you start looking at things a little differently.
So you
I
don't
had-
think that was a mistake?
No, I'm not going to.
Of course not. Of course not. I stare at those cars every day. And yeah, 12 vehicles for 6 people.
Have anybody
You
tried to
want
tell
me to
them?
understand, you made a statement, if we had spent our money wisely, who's we?
The board, the town.
Exactly, so
Majority of
maybe
those
that
cars
would
don't
be
work.
you.
Well, wait a minute. No, it wouldn't have been.
They're all broke down.
They were surplus.
I don't care.
Okay, hold on, hold up.
I
Now,
don't understand.
all right, I'll take full responsibility for the vehicle. Will you let me finish, please? Thank you.
Go ahead.
I take full responsibility for the vehicle that I did vote in because I was under the understanding we needed it and didn't realize that we had as many vehicles as we have. And, you know, it's a mistake on my part. I have no problem with saying it was a mistake. But what I'm not going to do is be beat down, because until you have sat where I'm sitting, then you don't quite understand. You may not understand everything that goes on
Oh, I did.
here.
The first meeting I came, I knew something shady was going on.
Well, I'm not, ma'am. I answered. No. We're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. I have answered your question. I have answered your question. All right. Now let's move on.
I want to speak on the cars first. In 2019, when I was put on the board, we replaced 3 cars that had over 171,000 miles on those cars. We got a loan from First Bank to pay for them cars over a 5-year period. There was no computers in the cars. They didn't have hardly any equipment that was working. Those cars came fully equipped at $145,000. The Durango's purchase price was around $35,000, $38,000. So their cars were breaking down more than they were keeping them on the road. We were towing cars from other places. That's why every car that has been bought since I've been on the board was needed due to other cars being high mileage. Anyone knows a police car driven over 100,000, 110,000, it's not any good any longer. It needs replacing. That's why all agencies replace their cars when they get to a certain point. So these cars were bought. We got some used ones to save money because we didn't have the money to finance. We couldn't finance after the first year here because we were late on audits and they told us we couldn't finance after that. But also in 2019, we redid our fire department building loan and got a cheaper interest rate. So we have spent our money wisely, in my opinion. But you do not expect the police officers to be driving 171,000 mile cars out here breaking down left and right. So that is facts. They had no computers to run the information. They had to rely on 911. And if 911 was extremely busy that night, they might miss out on some information. So that's why the cars came fully equipped, radars, cameras, body cameras, everything they needed with internet and everything to do their job efficient.
So is it true that some of these cars that we have right now are
There's
not any good?
4 or 5
Can
have
they
been
be
surplus.
sold?
We voted a while back to surplus some of them, but I was going to get ready to put them on surplus, but was told to hold on.
What? What?
I mean, the sheriff's department is looking at taking over our inventory. So that's why we were told to hold on.
Sir, you in the back had a question.
I'll run the meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's your short-term, projection for, fixing the police department and getting it back up running full speed again?
I hope later September, October.
Of this year?
Yeah. It depends on the sheriff's department, but they're working. I talked to them today, as a matter of fact, and they're working, trying to get things together.
Are we planning on getting rid of the surplus of cars at this point and maybe putting that money towards?
There's a lot of the cars that the sheriff's department will take.
And the surplus of money that we're not paying out right now for officers, where is that money sitting right now?
In the general fund.
So that'll go back towards the police department, that amount?
It'll stay in the police department budget until something happens.
So just to clarify your question, you're talking about the police department for the town of Ramseur, or we contracted to the sheriff's office?
No, my original proposal was thinking that why don't we, get a hold of the sheriff of Randolph County and ask him to put a substation here and give them a room, give them a place and let them run, out of here on a regular basis. Therefore, they wouldn't charge us.
That's the concept. That's what we're working on.
You know, and then we could still have our own police department coincide with that.
I'll tell you what the concept is. They'll work out of our police department. The sheriff's department will move in there. Be 4 officers and a sergeant, or 5 officers and a sergeant. That's undetermined, and maybe a clerical worker. And that's all I'm at liberty to talk about. But they will be.
The city of Trinity does it.
Yeah, Trinity's been doing it for years.
They got 17 square miles. You got 2.5. So it's doable. They've been doing it for several years.
That's what the police budget we use for it will be, to pay the county to contract out for services. As of right now, they will only, they're in the area unless they get a call otherwise, but they will answer 911 calls no matter what. The sheriff will answer those 911 calls. They might not be patrolling our streets as we're used to, but they will answer the 911 calls as they come in the priority with the rest of the county. That, calls are prioritized to their nature.
Maybe some of the residents here don't know the number to call, as far as to get a sheriff.
911, yes. 911 for anything you need a police, fire, or ambulance for.
We're gonna have to move on with this
So no.
agenda if we're gonna get done before midnight.
Can we verify this is on live? Because I just checked YouTube and Facebook and neither one of them live.
I'm sitting here with Facebook on right now. If you went to the town website, because we had to go to another YouTube channel. If you go to the town's website, it's got a link on there for YouTube.
Diane Garland confirmed that it is on. She's on vacation, but she's watching.
On which one?
She found it on Facebook.
Both of them's been running.
Next is Parks and Recreation, Teresa.
Hold on, let me find my. All right. As far as let me give you an update on the rail trail. We are moving forward. We had a meeting on last Tuesday about the rail trail and getting it up and running. Mary Joan Pugh came in and talked with us about where we were. So we will, and Mary, you may have to help me with part of this. We are getting to the point where It's going to be where you can walk from one end to the other. There's still some work that's going to have to be done here on our end, because right now we've got like a amount of dirt that's going to have to be leveled and fixed. But if you go over the bridge as you're going to Ashburn, you look to the right hand side, you'll see where they have built a bridge there to where we'll be able to walk from
Franklinville.
from the Franklinville side over. So it is coming along very nicely. It'll be a great opportunity for people to be able to go and walk out in nature here shortly. So that came through grant money. And Mary Joan Pugh has been working with us on that. And it's not, the rail trail is not just here, it's different parts within Randolph County that the rail trail is being eradicated and worked on so that everyone will have a opportunity to get out in nature and walk. Also, the Mayor Walk we will be having, and that will open it up to where you'll be able to see the area of the facility where we walk at. It will be on October the 12th at 9 o'clock. You'll get more information about that, but we encourage anyone and everyone to come out and be a part of the Mayor's Walk so that you can see the rail trail up and close.
We just get to walk, we'll walk from this Sandy Creek railhead to the trailhead to Harlan's Creek, that's where they got to build. That's the reason Mary Joan Pugh was here talking to us about building the bridge across. It's 190 foot across there. Of course, the bridge, I think they'll probably lower those banks. The bridge won't be quite that long, but it'll be longer than the one across Sandy Creek. And then we'll be able to walk all the way from here to Franklinville and beyond. Probably that won't be long. They'll have it open up all the way to Cedar Falls, and then eventually Rambling.
Did Randolph County fund all that trail? Randolph County fund that trail?
No.
A lot of it, not all of it, but
there's
money
grants.
coming, getting grant money from other places.
We had to match so much?
No, we haven't had to match any. If we have to match the counties, whatever is being matched, the county's doing the matching.
I have a question. So back to the police real quick, if we are to call in Randolph County Sheriff's Department, I'm sure that's not for free, right? So
It is
what
for
would it be more
If they
cost
contact
effective
us,
to
it's
have the
free.
county come in, or more cost effective to rebuild our police department?
To rebuild a police department take probably 5-6 years.
But you get,
Oh, you just said
you get your Riverwalk.
That is if we contract with Randolph County Sheriff's Department. That's going to be up and rolling
Yeah.
in the next couple of months.
I have a question about the infrastructure fee for the water. How long are we paying that for?
Say what?
She wants to know how long the fee on the water bill is gonna be.
Or how long are we paying that for?
Since we've not had any layout or explanation of the charges or how long they're expected to stay on our bill.
It can be 10 years.
And what are you doing differently?
What are you talking about?
Well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
For one, we are
Our
going,
water still smells like bleach
Well,
or dirt.
as I've said,
We can't drink it because it's filled with carcinogens. What are you doing differently?
as I've said before, Jason, yeah, come on up and talk. We'll let the gentleman that knows about what's going on with our water tell you.
Are you aware of what the money is for, like what was put on your bill for underwater and for sewer?
No, that's why we're here, but we haven't got the.
Okay, well, let's
It's for
be,
meters.
yeah,
It's
we're,
for meters.
Yeah.
It's going to be put in, going to be put in.
No, man, so we got a lot of things going on. So we got 3 different grants that we're working on right now. We got a sewer AIA grant, which allows the Wooten company to come in and they assessed their whole sewer system from the sewer plant to pump stations to the sewer lines. I don't know if a couple months back, or actually it's not really about a year ago now. Y'all remember like you drive down the streets and then you smoke coming out of the manhole, that with smoke testing the line, look for issues within the system that we can repair. Once we do that, we can develop a capital improvement plan that will allow us to apply for grants. The grants go by a point system. You have to score X amount of points before you're even awarded a grant. So we have a sewer AA and a water AA. They both basically do the same thing. We have a $6.5 million grant that went to water system improvements. With that, we're replacing 27,000 feet of water line. All the 2-inch lines, which is a lot of the problem lines that they build up, there's a lot of those galvanized lines they put in the ground years ago. All those 2-inch lines are going to go to 6-inch lines. So the houses that are on 2-inch lines will have better pressure. We are replacing filter media at the water plant with that. We're going from gas chlorine to liquid chlorine. It's a little bit safer for the operators to work with. And the other reason for that is the county has given us some money to do some other projects at the water plant. So our CIP, our capital improvement plan for the water, over the next 5 years, we were able to go to the county and they funded all of our projects that we had planned out for the next 5 years. So and most of us at the water plant, so we're gonna add ammonia, so we'll be the chloramines, which will match with Asheboro's and Siler Cities. That way we're able to sell water to Wolfspeed, which will bring in a lot of revenue to go towards the water and sewer. The infrastructure fee. So when I took over this job, I started looking at the water meters. I found water meters that were 27 years old. The residential water meters like at your house, those were put in, I think, from what I figured out, about 13, 14 years ago. The warranty on them were 10 years old. So I sent some meters off to get tested, found out they were under registered. So what I figured out through all this was in 2023 from the water plant, we sent out 181 million gallons of water throughout the course of the year. We only billed for 102 million. So there's 78 million gallons of water that was not billed. We were at a 46% non-revenue water. All right, so you cannot apply. There's no grant that the state offers to pay for water meters. The town has to pay for that themselves. The price on these water meters that I put in, or that I proposed, the price for all of them was I think the final price of the deal was 1.3 million. Was 1.3 million. That's spread out over 5 years.
1.383.
Yeah, so that's spread out over 5 years. Surf City, North Carolina, down at the coast, put these same water meters in last year, and there's an article on I think it's OpFlow magazine. They put these meters in the first year. They increased their revenues by $500,000 in 1 year of having these meters. None of the water stuff is cheap. Like I said, $6.5 million. That's enough to replace 27,000 feet of water line. That's not getting that far. So we can't replace these things. We can't hire staff to go 24/7 at the water plant and sell water at Wolfspeed if we're still losing $450,000 a year.
So that's where we come in, and these costs.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
But what?
And it's nothing that any town, like most towns, have an infrastructure fee that's there forever.
Okay, but
And in most towns, what that is, that goes into a separate account they use to fund projects.
I guess just a little heads up would have been nice.
Not just a heads up and an explanation.
Yeah.
Right.
Period.
Anything.
Right. Well, I know that, going back to the meetings, I know I presented it 3 different times, I think. I've presented the meters 3 different times. We actually had the company that's putting them in. They came in a slideshow presentation on them.
Okay, so when does that fee stop?
So the fee initially was designed, so when they structured these fees, right? The reason for the fee is you can rely on your revenue to pay for it, right? So, but.
And the grants?
The grants can't pay for water meters.
Okay, so you're just talking about the meters at this
Right, the grants cannot pay for water meters. And I did research on that. There is no grant that can pay for a water meter.
Okay.
The town has to fund that themselves. There is, They gave multiple options. I'm trying to remember the number. So the payments are spread out for these meters over 5 years. So we could have charged the infrastructure fee for 5 years at $10. I think it was $10.34 for water, $10.34 for sewer for 5 years, and it'd be done. And that over those 5 years, it would completely pay for the meter system itself. The 10-year cost, if you do that cost for 10 years, it will pay for itself over the course of 10 years, and it halves from 1034 to 517 water too. So that's the option we did. But now what I did do is we went in and I realized.
Okay, I'm sorry, before you move forward, because my notes say that you guys were going for 15 years.
The
two increments, it would be rolled off in the first 6 months, as I was here for the meeting.
The meters are warranted for 15 years. The company that puts them in, so the company that puts them in, if at any point these meters get below 98% accuracy, they come in and replace the meters. They're warranted for 15 years.
I'm not talking about the warranty, I'm talking about.
Well, when you're talking about 15 years, that's what it is.
Okay, so it's
Right,
not,
so-
it's 5, so you guys okay the 10-year, is that what you're telling me?
The board okayed the 10-year infrastructure fee.
At 5?
The payments on them last for 5 years, but to refund that money, because after 15 years, the meters are out of warranty. You're gonna have to replace them again, right? Or else you could be back in the same boat you're in now. So for those, years 6 through 10, ideally that infrastructure fee goes into another fund. That way at year 15, when the meters go out, you repurchase meters.
So we're always gonna be paying this.
Do I?
We're always gonna be paying this.
No, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. The board said after 10 years.
That's right. You've already stated that.
Calibrated. Those valves in there, they
So,
need to be calibrated.
The meters?
Yeah.
So this is an AMI system. Currently we have it, and I know a lot of people talk about how.
Listen,
So I know a lot of people.
we've already talked about this water for
We
hours.
don't combine read meters. We have 1,310 meters. All except for 130 of them are AMR system. Means we put an antenna on the car, we drive by and it reads the meter. The new system is an AMI meter, right? So instead of taking one reading a month, it'll take one reading every hour. It comes straight to town hall, they can see it. There's also a customer portal that the homeowner can download and you can see your live water usage. So the company that puts them in, they monitor it also. So if they ever see issues with meters, they come replace them within that 15 years automatically. Yeah, every town's going.
So where's the money going now that you don't have these gentlemen visually coming and reading them? Where's that money going?
Where's what money going?
Well, he just stated that there's not gonna be nobody reading these meters anymore, correct?
Well, so our public works crew, we have 3 guys, we're down a guy right now, we have 4 positions filled. That's who does the water meeting. Right now, they spend 1 week a month where they can't mow, they can't do brush pickup, they can't, it takes them away from everything else. They go out and they read water meters for a whole week. So what this will do, they won't have to do that. Now, they can keep doing their job for the whole month. So it helps on multiple areas. It saves us on gas, it saves us on man hours to read meters, it saves us on man hours on rereads. There's a ton of positives. Right.
And that's how he said.
Do you not read the meters anymore electronically?
Yeah, you can read them electronically, but the problem is these meters have they're a positive. The ones that are in the ground now are positive displacement. They have a moving part. Well, what happens after so long is that part wears out because water's constantly running through there. Just like your creek. The creek changes every year.
I believe it's Mr. Morrison.
So the water runs through it and that meter's going to stop reading accurately the amount of water that's running through that meter. These are ultrasonic, so there's no moving parts. It's a laser, or it's like a light, some sort of light, laser, whatever technology the company uses, and that's how it reads the flow.
Jason,
Yes.
let Mr. Morrison, I believe that's Mr. Morrison.
So the water plant and the sewer plant are both losing money.
Yes, sir.
That's the case in about
I thought we had a
that's the
balanced
case in
budget.
about 98% of the
Well,
municipalities in North Carolina.
So it's a balanced budget based off of, we know based off of last year, like what we charge, like for water. It's a balanced budget saying, we know we're gonna get this on revenue and we budgeted to say this is what we're gonna bring
Yeah, but
in.
you're supposed to be making a profit.
Right.
That's where this repair comes in and stuff, from the
Right.
money you make over
So-
years and years and years of being in business. But
So-
especially when it's brand new, you don't have to pay anything to maintain it. But then you're saying you're losing 80,000 gallons that it's not reading, but how many thousands of gallons are you pumping when you flush the lines? And you're flushing the lines a lot.
So every town has a flushing program. When I went to my state certification, every town, you should have a flushing program that you should do. If it's a dead end line, it should be getting flushed, however often, once a week. every
Now,
2
this
weeks.
is the only town I've ever seen flush water like, to be honest with you. And I've been-
So the reason for that is because a lot of towns have 24/7 shifts and they flush at night when you can't see it. We don't have the luxury of having that much staff. We have to do it during the day.
They have to flush it from the hydrant, right?
Not always. They make flushers that bury in the ground and they just drain out. You'll never see them.
I'm not buying that totally.
Okay, you can go on USA Blue Book and look up automatic flushers and you'll see them when they're all there.
With all this extra money coming in for the water department, at what point is the water actually going to be drinkable? When is the carcinogens gonna be out of our water?
So I have monthly tests that I have to do every month, not just at the water plant. So at the water plant, the state requires that we test the water every 4 hours. That's all the state requires. We do it every 2 hours.
Right, but
So-
still a couple times a year, we get a letter in the mail saying, don't drink the water, it's got carcinogens in it.
They don't say don't drink the water. It's so, that's a THM, and I don't think we've had a THM violation in, since 2021, 2022?
Who drinks the water though? How many people drink the water?
I drink it every day.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yes, sir.
How do you get by the smell?
Why do you drink it every day?
I drink it every
Well, I don't
day.
drink it every day. That's part of my job. I drink it every day to make sure it tastes fine before I sit down.
But it doesn't,
Make tea.
it burns my
What?
system.
I'm not
It
What
burns.
is the eviction? What is the eviction?
Well,
I'd rather not, but, I mean,
I can.
the state requires me to go out and test the water out in the system every month for certain things. Other things, like lead copper, we got tests for that every 3 years. Actually, I'll be testing for that next week. So
Where can you find these results?
you can go on North Carolina Drinking Water Watch. Every test we've done for ever how long is on there. North Carolina Drinking Water Watch.
Our kids live in Vernon County and they've got city water or community water and their water doesn't ever smell and it doesn't taste bad.
Right.
I mean, this is like,
So,
we bought our property because we had city water and city
Right.
sewer.
so what's the size of Harnett County? What's the size of Harnett County?
They're just like on the far tip of it.
I mean the size, like the population.
Oh, I don't know, that's a big.
Oh, they're out in the country, there's not that many people.
Well, I get that, but it still,
It's a big.
it makes a difference on size and volume. So when we start selling water,
The more
the
people, the more it
water
gets
will go from,
I drink mine every day.
right now, we spend about
Is
300,000 a day.
Is your water gonna taste and smell better than our water does when you
Who?
ship it there to Wolfspeed?
No, shipping it to Wolf Speed will come from the same water.
Are you saying that
And
it's still
it-
our water drinkable?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yeah, I drink it every day.
But we still get letters in the mail telling us it's not drinkable.
When's the last time you had?
You haven't got a letter in-
6 months.
since I've been the mayor.
If you got a letter 6 months ago, it came from somebody other than us. Because it was not us.
No,
Because we have not had any water
The only thing we
violations
sent was
since
what, grease
2000.
letters, wasn't it? That's the only thing we sent was grease letters.
If I'm, don't quote me on it, but 2021, 2022, I can't remember the exact date. So,
You saw the picture I sent around, didn't you? with the-
oh, hey, yeah, the yearly consumer confidence report is on the town's website. That's a report I do every year, and it lists every violation we had within the previous year. So 2023 is on the town's website now.
That tarry substance that's on our faucet and stuff like that, and you would look at that and you would drink your water, drink the water.
What's in the water that makes that stuff grow? Because
So it can be a number of things. I mean, it can be coming from your hot water heater. I mean, do you run hot water for that spigot?
our house is 3 years old.
I understand that, but have you looked at the manual for the hot water heater?
And no, I'm looking
So-
at all my faucets.
So a hot water heater, if you look at the manual, it says you should drain your hot water heater once a year.
Okay, we got
I
cold
give
water
these people
flushes the
addresses.
toilets, it
They
builds
got
up
black
around the
stuff
toilets,
coming.
there's no
I
hot
get
water.
their addresses.
I'm not buying your story on the water.
Okay,
I'm
and
not,
that's fine, but I mean, I'm not going to tell you that I do the state
I-
testing every month.
Granted,
So
But we're concerned.
You're feeding it a lot of chemicals to try to keep it on an even keel.
When the Toyota site started up, we started feeding a new chemical to get on top of the sediment.
But we have a filtration system that is.
Yeah, well, it goes through filters. Yeah, it goes through filters. It's, sand, anthracite, and rock is what it goes through. And they get backwashed. We got 2 filters and they alternate. One gets backwashed every other day. So, I mean, my guys at the water plant are going above and beyond to do the things. Now, replacing the 27,000 feet of water line will help. Selling water at 1 speed will help for the age of water because we'll be turning over more water. That water plant will go from a 10-hour day job to a 24-hour day job.
Does any of that revenue come back towards the city of?
Yes. Yeah.
As far as lowering our taxes?
That would be, I don't know how that would work out.
We need to get on with this agenda. Yes, you are.
Planning and zoning, we received, a resignation letter or email.
We got a meeting going on here.
We received a resignation letter from, email from Sandra, stating she was resigning from the, planning and zoning. I need to get a motion that we accept her resignation.
I make a motion that we accept her resignation.
I hear a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Also, I got an application for planning and zoning from Juanita Brown. And I'd like to make a motion that we accept this, application for her planning and zoning.
I make a motion that we accept Juanita Brown to go on the planning and zoning board.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
No, she's not.
Are you voting? I said all in favor.
Oh, yeah. And a request for public reception.
Did he say yay? Motion carries.
All right, and the last thing, a request for public hearing at the September meeting. Carol,
Yes, ma'am.
what's this? This is for,
It's for the, Honeywood Housing Development.
okay.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and have a public hearing at September meeting.
I hear a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Motion carries. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, Carol.
I have received from Mr. Carrick, as I said earlier tonight, he will be here the 28th and 29th of this month to complete the audit that we have been working on currently. I have his contract here. He sends a contract every audit time. So this is the same as, I believe I sent it out to y'all to look at. It's the same contract as we signed before. I just need a motion for the mayor to be able to sign his contract.
I'll make that motion. The mayor to sign the contract.
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
And then I just wanted to let you know, remind you that the elected officials picnic is September the 19th, and the town of Ramseur is hosting it this year. It will be at the Harvest House. We have a lot of responsibilities on us as the host for the event, but it's a county-wide event, and so a lot of the expenditures and such are handled by different organizations and stuff through the county. The chamber helps work on it. I believe Randolph County Membership Corporation does the invitations. I mean, everybody has a hand in it. And just, we are working on that. We have, one of our responsibilities that we have to do is give out for lack of any other way to say it, goodie bags to everybody that shows up at the picnic. And so we have those ordered and we have that underway. We are working currently. Another thing that we have to do is get local businesses to donate something to advertise for their business and to be given away that night just by drawing. We do have some of those items already in where we have talked to people and we're working on getting more. Just wanted to let everybody know that we're working on that.
Is that it? Okay, first thing in these reminders and announcements, Liberty's art shows in this adjoining room here. It's ongoing. August the 24th, we have the youth fishing tournament from 8 to 11. That's this Saturday. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Liberty's art show, that's from 6 to 8 here. Let's see, September the 16th, we got the ABC monthly board meeting at 6 o'clock. September the 17th, the Town of Ramseur Board of Commissioners meeting at 6:30. September the 19th, the Town of Ramseur to host a 2024 elected officials picnic at the Harvest House. September the 28th, Ramseur Community Museum will be open 10 to 4. October the 12th, the Mayor's Walk at 9 o'clock in the morning. October the 19th is the Fall Festival. And we have to go into closed session, so.
Personnel.
Yes, for personnel, that's right.
So chief here.
So you need a motion.
No,
I make a motion, we adjourn and go into open session.
do I hear a second?
Don't need
Closed
to adjourn.
session.
Motion to go into closed
Just make a
session.
motion to go into closed session for personnel.
All in favor, let's go.
I'll second.
I wish we could get that room fixed. We could have our own closed sessions in there like we used to.
Hang on.
It'll be dry blood. It looks like dry blood.
You know what it was? Dog jumped up in my lap and toenail.